the 13. Red Feather to throw. Red Feather caught. Touchdown. 15 seconds to go. The MVP is well deserved.
Out of the gun, Corky to the bottom of the screen. Down to 15 seconds left. Sully back to pass. He's going to Corky. It is caught. And he puts it down. Are you serious? Touchdown!
Greg Corky is your MVP.
Unique, and I think the more people that tune into it are gonna find out that, man, this is like I just saw a post earlier. Forget, what else is going on TV. I got an SFL game coming on.
Okay. You got a pretty good lead here.
Wilson to pass. Wilson going long. Got a man. K.O. Barrett 40, 30, 20. Let's go downfield and let's get a championship. Mexico City's up 20.
Wow.
Mexico City came to win this game.
Wow.
No fear.
So I'm Matt Wilson. I'm from Rochester, New York. I'm 37 years old. Bringing people together through any sort of media or medium is important because it allows us to connect with people that we wouldn't have met before. To be honest with you, I think they're going to take over.
11 Sports and the Simulation Football League welcome you to Queensway in London across the pond, the site for a Week 4 matchup between the Houston Hyenas at 1-2 and the London Knights at 2-1. Welcome into the broadcast booth, everybody. Chris Curtis and Andy Hamilton ushering in a new era of SFL football on 11 Sports.
SFL Winter 2020 Rookie Draft, Mexico City Aztecs select Phoenix Jones, fullback. Come on up, Phoenix.
Thank you for tuning in wherever you are in the world. As we are just getting set to kick it off, the kicker, Cliff Allen for Lincoln, has the ball on the tee. At the 30-yard line, he's got his hand in the air. The whistle blows, and it's game on in the SFL's minor league for the very first time.
And off Warren Murray. And Murray's got a first down and more. Murray gets a block. Breaks a tackle. This one's from Mama Murray. Warren swings. Get him into the end zone. Touchdown, Baltimore.
And I guess my former teammate took it personal when I told them they were doing a great job of bottling.
Alongside Tyler Falk, I'm now speaking to you now. Welcome to the Season 19 SFL Playoffs. I'm Cameron Irvine, and welcome into the SFL studios. Tyler, super excited to be here today. Montage of all the different milestones, iconic moments in SFL history, and we hope that the Season 19 postseason can be just as iconic.
Absolutely, Cam. And speaking of iconic, all those amazing moments, and of course, Mike St. Green, I'm taking into his spot. It's like out with the old, in with the new, and I'm surprised, Cam, when you asked me to come on and be your partner this weekend. You have Mike St. Green and all that he brings to the table and his ego and Houston all the time. And now you want Mr. 2-10 alongside you for the playoffs?
Yes. It's a far fall from the top, Tyler. It's we miss Mike St. Green very much this postseason, but we'll see him tomorrow on the field when Houston takes on Sioux Falls. But today, Tyler, we've got a great matchup. DC and Minnesota. They met earlier this season on Next Level Sports, and it was an instant classic. DC was stopped at the goal line, 38-31. Minnesota pulled it out. Now the Legend go on the road today, where they have had much more problems than at Northwood Stadium this season. But Minnesota, an expansion team, are they ready for the big lights, Tyler? That's what we're going to find out today. And DC was here right in this same spot last season, but lost to Tulsa at home in the opening round.
Yeah, Minnesota, let's start off with the Legend, Cam. And you said it right as you were coming onto the air. It all comes back to the quarterback, Johnny Reno for Minnesota. He has played lights out while at home, throwing 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions while at home. On the road, however, it's a completely different story. 4 touchdowns compared to 19 picks. If Minnesota want to take care of the football, Reno's going to have to bring some of Northwood's Stadium with them into DC. And for those Dragons, they have had that tough time against teams that allow less than 21 points per game. That's the top 5 defenses in the league. They've played 3 of those teams, Baltimore twice, and have lost every single time. It is going to be tough for both offenses to move the football. This is an old school football match, or at least that's what the billing is living up to. We should see 2 good defenses. I reckon it to a team that maybe some more people are familiar with, maybe Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFL in the olden days, or the Purple People Eaters of the Minnesota Vikings. Expect something similar here today.
You found a way to get the Vikings in pregame, Tyler. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. But it is interesting because the game does point to defense, but the last time these two teams played, it was a shootout, and it was so much fun. B.J. Loveless, Axel Raven, the first expansion teams to make the playoffs since season 11, and trying to become the first to win it to win a playoff game since season 10. Tyler and I had a chance to sit down with Axel Raven earlier this morning and get a chance to chat with them about what they've accomplished and what they're hoping to accomplish this postseason. Take a listen. Ahead of today's kickoff of the SFL wildcard round, we have the co-owner of the Minnesota Legend, Axel Raven, with us. How you doing today, Axel?
I'm doing all right. You know, the nerves, but first time in the playoffs, but it's exciting as well. So,
Axel, always good to have you on. Always good to talk to you, and good to see you representing my home state well and taking the inaugural Legend to the playoffs. I think the biggest question on everybody's mind with the new franchise is how you guys came into the playoffs. A very strong 4-game stretch from week 10 to week 13, but that rivalry game versus Indianapolis might leave a few questions. Tell us how you and your guys are preparing for DC today.
We're trying to go hard. We know last game we played DC. Though that he was sort of underused, he had, I want to say 7, 8, 9 yards per carry, but only 9 carries or something. We want to make sure that we stop him because I can only feel that DC's like, hey, he worked pretty well. Let's see if we can ramp him up and use him against us. Likewise, we want to shut down Energy. We're looking at really causing a lot of headaches in the backfield there for him. The Sims were looking really good with a lot of turnovers and things. So we're hoping that the D will put our offense in a prime positions to score and really hold them to a lot less than 31 points from last week or last time we met.
Axel, the expansion teams in recent years have had struggles. It's tough building a team from scratch. And with roster expansion, we went from 12 to 15 to 18 to 20 to 23, right? And with every roster expansion, it gets harder and harder for expansion teams to compete right away. Yet, the Minnesota Legend were able to finish 7-5, the only expansion team with a winning record, make the playoffs, and you're trying to become the first expansion team to win a playoff game since the Red Devils did in season 10 back in the Indianapolis days of Charleston. So, Axel, what was your plan to build this team, and do you feel like it was executed as perfect as it could go? What was that philosophy like, and how were you able to accomplish that?
Sure. So I think a lot of the time, BJ being the perennial GM, extraordinaire that he is, came in and really hit the ground running with the networks that he had, the ins with a lot of players throughout the league, at Arizona, Houston, QCC, and his relationship with Jack Brown, and just his fingers go everywhere. His ears are down to the railroad. And then myself, just having met the number of players and gotten, the networks that I've had, again, only 2 seasons deep or so, but still, people wanting to play for us and really though it may look like we were built to win, we're also built to have a successful culture. And that was what we were really aiming for, more so than winning. We figured it might take a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. We knew we would be fairly competitive, I think, out of the group of expansion teams. But we, I don't think ever in our wildest dreams we would have been, even finishing 7-5 was part of our plan necessarily. We knew it was possible, but likely it takes, there's some, getting used to learning to stand on our own 2 feet, if you will. So it's amazing. It was the dream, was never fully the plan, and we're here, and I would not have done it without a whole nother team. I feel like this whole team, it sort of came together really well. I feel like it was a perfect mashup of a variety of players at the different positions and the culture that we're building.
And Axel, back to today's game at hand with DC. You'd mentioned turnovers in our last question. And the one thing that concerns me for your legend is the amount of turnovers that DC seemingly doesn't give up. They are, of course, number 1 in turnovers, in least turnovers given away on offense, while you guys sit right around the 5th most turnovers, and especially last week against Indianapolis, Johnny Reno threw 4 interceptions. In your sims, you saw that the turnover differential was more so slated in your favor. What are you specifically attacking a part of DC's game plan to come up with those turnovers potentially today?
Sure. We went through all number of plays that we had in our offensive book, tested each one of them over and over and over again and analyzed which ones were the highest productivity against the DC, what DC is likely to bring us on defense. I feel like I went through 60, 70 different potential plays to add to the playbook to narrow down which ones are going to be the highest potential, least risky, but the biggest, the balance of risk and reward kind of thing. And that's the thing. We don't know what DC is going to bring us. We're basing it on their history of the last 4 or 5 games. And we don't know. I think that was, again, you mentioned Indianapolis, our last game. After the game, we're talking with Chad, he threw a little bit of, he changed things up in his plan. So we weren't really planning on what they brought us. So that's the fun of the games. Like we're planning on history and things that we feel we could predict, but again, we don't have a crystal ball. So we're trying to hedge our bets and trying to get the running game going as best we can to balance out the passing attack, because you can't throw interceptions if you're handing it off, right? And so that's really high probability plays, putting our players in the right position compared to where their defense is on the field. So.
Axel, every week teams prepare a different number of hours for a different opponent, depending upon the matchup, depending upon what's going on in the rest of our lives, right? You have a full-time job just like everybody else does in this league. And so, for Minnesota this week, this game against DC, just give the people at home an idea of how many hours collectively the team has put into this particular game plan. We all know that more hours doesn't necessarily equal wins and losses, but the level of detail that goes into scouting and matchups sometimes can be all the difference. So what would you say that number was this week?
Let's see. I'll count myself first because I that's what I know. I spent sitting down at my desk at 6 p.m. and working on the book, testing things until 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. This week, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, mornings, next day mornings. So that's a solid 8 to 10 hours a night for the last few nights. Since Sunday, really, until when we figured out who we were matching up with. Right. So myself, probably a good 40, maybe even 50 hours, having some sims run overnight. A little bit of creep into. I'm lucky enough to work from home, so I'm able to run some sims during the day and things. And so, dozens of sims, 40, 50, 60 hours this week, myself personally, scouting and help with all the other aspects of the game plan, maybe another, 20 hours put in. So we're talking, between 60 and 80, maybe even more hours this week put into that. And that's not, that's, I'd say 150% of what we've done in past weeks previously. Like, again, matching up against Baltimore and DC, same all hands on deck kind of feel as well. So a lot of time, a lot of effort going into this.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point that I wanted to make to the TV audience today, is that not just Minnesota, but all the teams around the league, even teams that finished 3-9 or 4-8, like Indianapolis, for example, who beat you last week. They put a ton of time and effort into this, and when game plans go haywire, or someone gets hurt, or you lose at the final gun, right? It can be devastating because you've spent so much time on it, but so rewarding when the victories do come. And Axel, we wish you the best of luck today against the DC Dragons, who have also had a playoff win drought. And, of course, you guys in your first season looking for your first. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us on the program, Axel, and best of luck to you today.
Appreciate it, both of you, Tyler.
So we know that Axel's fired up, and we know that DC's fired up too, Tyler. They are no slouch. You've got Jermaine Smith, who's won a title, Stephen Mullinex, who's had #1 offenses littering the record books throughout his time as a coach. And DC is plenty charged for this one, especially trying to get their fans a home playoff win for the first time in their history. They were on the road in that Season 5 run, and so they're trying to do something they have never done before either.
If you're looking for a blue-collar team here in the SFL, you look no further than DC, in my opinion. One of the most – they're not going to try and do anything too terribly flashy. They're not going to try and wow you with a whole bunch of big plays. They like to nickel and dime teams, like to set a rhythm on offense, get the ground game going, which we'll see Kevin say a whole lot today. And in my personal opinion, I think they're due. I think the Dragons are due for a little bit of a playoff run. And to put Minnesota in their place after taking one of the chin on the road, that dungeon is going to be a fortress this afternoon. And I think we're picking up right where we left off when we ended the regular season on Sunday, with 3 out of the 4 games being decided by 3 points or less. If I had to put a prediction on this game, I'm going 2017 DC over Minnesota.
Well, there you go. Tyler, keep my seat warm here for halftime. I'll be back to join you, but Eddie Gage and I are on the call of this one. It's going to be a fun one in the nation's capital. Coming up next, the DC Dragons, the Minnesota Legend. You don't have to wait any longer. 2 minutes away from kickoff. We'll see Tyler back at halftime, and we'll be right back on Next Level Sports.
Next Level Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football League.
Welcome to the nation's capital this afternoon, a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and today it's the start of the SFL Season 19 playoffs between the Minnesota Legend and the DC Dragons. Welcome into the dungeon of Dracarys Stadium. I am Cameron Irvine, and alongside Eddie Gage, Chad Rowland, and Jack Brown on stats, we are looking for an epic performance today from both of these teams who are desperate for a playoff win. Eddie, take it away.
SFL Nation, y'all know what it is. What a great day to play some football, y'all. These two teams just played a few weeks ago, Cam, and it was an offensive showcase. 38-31 was the final. DC on the road took the L, but talking to head coach of this team, they told me, hey, that was a fluke. We had Kevin Say, who missed almost a half. We had our starting receiver miss significant action. We out here to show these fans here at home what home cooking is all about with a healthy roster.
Reno's out there to call the coin toss. Heads for Minnesota. It's heads, and Minnesota wins the toss and defers to the second half. Kickoff is seconds away. You're watching the SFL Season 19 playoffs, presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. Let's make it happen. The ball's on the tee and the hands in the air. We are underway. Kick it from DC. From the 6-yard line, on the return is Gus Scott to the 27, and it'll be first down from there for the Dragons. Shabazz Sanergy is the starting quarterback. He is very efficient, Eddie.
Very efficient indeed, Cam. This team finished with the fewest turnovers in the entire league this past season. They didn't need that production going today.
We're having some technical difficulties with our clock, but it's 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line. Just getting underway here on Wild Card Weekend. The first play of the game is a handoff to Kevin Say, and he loses 2 yards, dropped in the backfield. And we remind you today that aerial coverage of today's game is provided by Dags Drone Works, aerial photography and videography services for real estate events, marketing, and more. Learn more at dagsdroneworks.com. Good start for Minnesota, Eddie.
It was. Kevin Say finished last game with only 8 carries due to him being out, but he ran for 91 yards. They need to keep that production going on defense.
3 wide receivers, Sanergy under center. Nickel look for Minnesota's defense. Sanergy with a bit of a hard count. Now drops back to pass for the first time today and flips it out to Josh Gill. Pickup of 7 on the play. They bring up a 3rd and 5 for the Dragons in their teal tops and jerseys with the white pants, gold trim. Minnesota in their green helmets, white jerseys, gray pants with the green and silver accents.
Both these teams have great uniforms, Cam.
3rd and 5 at the 31. 4 wide, 3 to the top of the screen, far side right. Sanergy running slant patterns over the middle. Tip ball, and it's intercepted by Minnesota. That's Cody Griffin to the 41-yard line. And right off the bat, it is a DC turnover. A very few of those this season. Cody Griffin makes it happen.
Cody Griffin trying to play like big brother over there on the opposite side, getting his 8th interception on the season, Cam, and what a great time for. He's going to set them up in great field position.
So 1st down and 10 at the 41-yard line. Shabazz Sanergy this season keeps the interceptions down. Fewest in the league with 16. 1st and 10 at the 41. Handoff now to Colin Hart. First play of the day for Minnesota's offense, and it quickly picks up 6 yards.
Wow, yeah, and Colin Hart hasn't been as productive this season, Cam, only finishing with 700-plus yards. If they want to take some of this pressure off their quarterback, who's known for throwing turnovers on the road, they're going to need more production out of him today.
Flip out to Colin Hart. He's got a first down inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. And Minnesota moving the sticks. DC nervous a little early so far.
Yes, they are. And talking to both coaches said they plan on being much more physical and up front, playing aggressive at the line of scrimmage and pressing these corners a bit more. But thus far, DC is playing off.
1st and 10 at the 28. If you're just joining us, we do have a technical difficulty with our clock at the moment. But we'll keep an eye on it for you at the DC 28-yard line. It's a first down for Colin Hart. He'll pick up a couple to the Dragon 26. That'll force down a 2nd and 8 situation.
Yeah, and both these coaches talking to Axel Ravenhick, offensive coordinator of Minnesota, said they made monumental changes came on offense. Let's see if DC is going to be prepared for it.
2nd and 8 at the 26-yard line. Reno fires it out to Hart. Hart picks up one block, but DC's defense quickly out there to make the stop. Nathaniel Diggs and company. And Hart only able to pick up 2. First critical 3rd down of the football game tonight.
Yeah, and just looking at Minnesota's game plan thus far, we've seen them come out in F-wing jokers a couple of times already. We've seen DC victimized by that in the past couple of weeks, and I wonder if that was something they picked up on.
3 receivers, 2 to the top of the screen for Johnny Reno, trying to play a clean game. Keep the turnovers down. DC brings a blitz. It is picked up wide open. Buchanan Simons, first down to the 12. And the Legend continue to move the football on their opening drive following a Cody Griffin interception.
Yeah, in that time, the corners actually did their job, Cam, but the defensive line took way too long to try to get to the quarterback. And there's no receiver you can keep contained for that long, Cam.
4 wide for Minnesota. Reno slants, tipped and picked at the goal line, and that is back-to-back all slants plays resulting in interceptions, Eddie. I'm not too sure why teams keep trying to test it.
Yeah, you say it, but a lot of teams continue to do it. And this time, DC came out in a 3-robber defense. Write that one down, Charles. I know you're listening. But they bring the safety down in the box as an extra defender, and they try to run it right across them. Ball got tipped up, picked off, and returned the other way. DC's got to be careful here on offense this deep and they're on in, Cam.
No doubt. On the goal line. Don't want to have the first points of the playoffs result in a safety. And Coventry is dropped in the end zone, and that's exactly what happens. 2-0 Minnesota to start the football game.
And if you're just tuning in, just getting your popcorn, this is not a baseball game. This is football, Cam. And sure enough, getting that interception on the 1-yard line comes back and pays dividends for Minnesota.
Angela Meerkat on the defensive line in her 2nd season, 6'6", 280. Makes the play, one of 2 females in this ball game, along with Lauren Percoco, the talented tight end. And the Legend now lead 2-0. Ball at the own 30-yard line, and then a quick return to the 47 for Minnesota. And they're going to set up with more excellent field position, and this game could not have started any worse for Washington, giving up the early interception and then giving up the safety in great field position.
Yeah, that free kick, you're not going to get much extension on the ball, and unfortunate for DC, but they got to bite down and try to get through this.
On the 47-yard line for Johnny Reno. Reno fires it outside, tipped and incomplete. That ball knocked away again by Nathaniel Diggs.
Nathaniel Diggs, coming over from Queen City, was a monster in the minors. He's been a monster for DC, and now it's transitioning over to this game as well.
Johnny Reno this season, Tyler Falk mentioned it in pregame, the interceptions on the road have been a huge problem. 35 picks, 3,457 yards, though he knows how to sling it. 75% completion percentage for Johnny. 2nd down and 10 at the 47-yard line. Handoff goes to Colin Hart. Hart up the middle, splits the difference and picks up 6 to set up a 3rd down and 4.
Yeah, the defensive line parted like the Red Sea. You know, you got 4 defensive linemen out there, and they both split off equally to the outside, trying to get pressure on the quarterback. But Minnesota was running the ball, and they gave him an easy hole to run through.
Hart's up to 25 all-purpose yards on his first 5 touches of the evening. 3rd down and 4. Caught on the sideline for Minnesota. That's Adam Banks' first catch in his second season. 6'4", 190, another first down.
And that's what Minnesota wants to do. They want to stay ahead of the change, make 2nd and 3rd down more manageable. And at this rate, if they can continue to get this running game going, Cam, DC's going to have some problems.
First down at the 41-yard line. Dragons on their heels a bit early. 7 in the box. Colin Hart takes a handoff. And Hart struggling to pick up yardage, but does end up getting 7 at the end of the play, Eddie. And look, Collins having trouble from the moment he gets the football, but he's navigating this DC defense quite well so far.
He is, Cam, and that time he brought the safety down in the box looking for perhaps a run to the outside, but they ran it up the A gap, and they're taking advantage of what DC is giving them right now.
2nd and 3. Hart, another run, a couple of kick-out blocks, and Hart gets it to the 18-yard line. 38 yards on 5 carries for Colin Hart, and Minnesota's back in the red zone.
And once again, Cam, they're just taking advantage of what this defensive line. This time they come out with a stunt to the opposite way, and Colin Hart just takes the ball to the outside, and there's no one to tackle him until he gets to the 3rd level.
1st and 10 of the 18. We're here in the first quarter of the SFL Season 19 Wild Card Premier Game. Minnesota and Washington, D.C., the Dragons and the Legend fighting in the 10-7 matchup of this wild card bracket, as Reno will fire it outside to Banks. That's hauled in for a pickup of 3. The Legend being very careful offensively, Eddie.
And I don't blame them, because right now, DC said they're going to be more aggressive, but thus far they have not been. They've shown a couple of glimpses of it, but thus far they're just taking and just sitting back and just waiting for mistakes.
Flip out, Colin Hart inside the 15 down to the 14-yard line. So another 3rd down coming up for Minnesota as the first quarter continues to creep away.
Yeah, and so far, once again, they aren't testing this defense deep just yet, Cam. And once again, they're in 3rd and manageable.
Reno out of the gun, 3rd and 5 of the 14. Pass is hauled in, I think, one-handed by Jay Taylor at the 3-yard line. Just stuck the paw out and snuck it into his abdomen for the 1st and goal.
That was a very dangerous pass, Cam. The ball was actually out in front of him. He had a defender closing in on him. And had he not had the courage and came up with some alligator arms, Cam, that would have been another interception. Jokers.
1st and goal at the 3. They flip it out to Hart. It was well defended. Excellent job on the coverage by John DeSantis in his 4th season, all with the DC Dragons, will bring up 2nd and goal from the 6.
Yeah, DC came out with a 5-2 defense, Cam, keeping the corners outside, and that's their job, to stop the swing, pass the swing routes, and anything out to the flats.
Second and goal at the 6. Johnny Reno fires it outside, looking for the goal line, can't get there. Down to the 1, that's Jason France. And one thing that Johnny Reno is doing a good job here so far today is mixing up the receivers. 8 out of 10 to start, and that is the 5th different player with a catch so far.
I believe that was 90 tight end swing strong, and they did a great job bringing that big man down. 5-2 defense again. Watch for the swing.
3rd and goal at the 1. Try Hart one more time. It's covered, and Reno is sacked. Went to the well one too many times, and the sack is picked up in the backfield by Billy Banks, the defensive tackle, or Blanks rather, who comes in every now and again and this time forces a Legend field goal.
Yeah, we called out a moment ago, DC playing that 5-2 defense. The job of those corners is to stop anything going out to the flats. And if it's a swing pass or a screen, you're either going to get sacked or tackled for a loss.
So field goal coming up here for Minnesota. It's a 24-yard chip shot, and that field goal is good. So 5-0 Minnesota on top of DC after the first couple of series. But Eddie, DC's got to feel pretty good about themselves because they did not give up touchdowns on either of those series.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Cam. Minnesota had great starting field position on both those drives, and to come away with 5 points total has got to be a disappointment if you're the offense.
So the DC Dragons will get the ball here at the 5-yard line. This is Scott on the return to the 25. Again, we're having issues with our clock. We're still trying to actively fix it, but still unsure why we're not getting it to pop up here tonight. But it's 5-0 here in the first quarter. Minnesota on top of DC. If it's not one thing, it's the next, Eddie. Welcome to season 19.
That's all right, Ken. That's what they got us for. We can help them out.
So the DC Dragons, on their first couple of drives, they threw an interception, did Synergy on an all slants play, and then put down in the end zone was Kevin Say for the safety. Now our first look at R62 for the day, a free play will wipe away that Gill 6-yard catch, and the Dragons will take the yardage 1st and 5.
Yeah, they'll more than happily take the free down and make it 1st and 5 rather than a 6-yard completion. Hopefully, Ken, we don't have to see these referees too often today.
Yeah, we never like to see the referees too often. Angela Meerkat with the infraction had the safety earlier, got a bit jumpy there.
Yeah, I'm sure Minnesota will forgive her.
So 1st down and 5 at the 30-yard line. Off the Meerkat penalty, Synergy's in the shotgun. And Synergy fires it outside. That pass is caught and then ruled short of the marker. Not too sure about that call. Mike Churchill with the catch.
Yeah, I don't think there's a team in the SFL, Cam, who does not run 50X spot in their playbook. It's very hard to defend.
Wasn't always that way.
Yeah, but once more talent came and the league expanded, it made things more difficult.
And the crowd likes the play call and almost didn't get the 1st down as Kevin Say just gets across the line. The legend had been all over Kevin early in this game, but it's a 1st down for the Dragons.
They have, but that time came, I thought it was friendly fire. If he would have stayed outside, that would have been an easy pickup of a 1st down and probably about another 8 or 9.
1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. First quarter here in D.C. SFL Season 19 playoffs. Wild card, Kevin Say past midfield to the Minnesota 41-yard line. 1st down for D.C. and the first big run of the day for Kevin Say.
Yeah, you know it's only a matter of time, Ken, before he gets going. But Minnesota electing to stay 2 safety high, not bring that extra man down the box, at least not just yet. And Kevin Say is going to take advantage of that all game long.
Say trying to outrun the defense, but was eventually stopped by Daniel Wright. 1:24 to go in the first quarter here. Fast-moving first quarter.
Yeah.
Here in Washington, D.C., it's Minnesota 5, D.C. nothing. Minnesota a field goal off an interception and then a safety off of D.C. turnover of Johnny Reno. Synergy now drops it off short. That pass is hauled in for a 4-yard pickup. That's Churchill again to the 37. There's the early quarterback numbers. And
look at Kevin Say showing his all-around ability. That time he lined out wide. Typically what the number 1 wide receiver elects to line up at. But Kevin Say showing all of his ability here today, Cam.
2nd down and 6 at the 37-yard line. Quarter winding down on us here in the first. And Synergy will step up in the pocket and nearly threw an interception. One Mississippi had every opportunity at that football, but it'll set up a 3rd down and 6.
And BJ, his nickname in the Arizona locker room, when he was a Scorpion, his nickname was Stone Hands. And that time, Hawaii, Mississippi tipped it up and gave him a gift, and he still dropped it twice. That should have been interception number 3 on the season.
3rd and 6 at the 37-yard line. 3 wide for D.C. and Synergy fires to up a man, and the defender fell over. Mike Churchill with the catch of the 1st down to the 12. And that was Derek Meerkat falling, slipping on DC's way to the end zone.
Cover 12 out of the 4-2 nickel. Plenty of space between the receiver and the safety. And you're right, he made a diving attempt at it. And coaches tell us all the time, if you dive for it, you better tip it. Because if you miss it, you're going to come straight back to the sidelines. And DC made him pay.
39 yards of offense for the Dragons, and this is by far their best drive of this game so far. 1st and 10 at the Minnesota 12. Synergy drops back to pass, hits Kevin Say inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line, 4-yard pickup. Cody Griffin, who already has an interception, makes that tackle the open field.
That looked like a one-arm tackle, Cam. He tackled him with his left arm only. I'm not sure what his right arm was doing, but he tackled Kevin Say with one.
That's the end of the first quarter. Minnesota 5 and the DC Dragons nothing, but the Dragons are driving. You're watching the SFL Season 19 playoffs only on Next Level Sports. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy.
Oh, look at
Clock
this.
is back. Start of the second quarter. 5 wide. Empty backfield for Shabazz Synergy. Along with Eddie Gage, I'm Cameron Irvine. And that is a catch inside the 2. Oh, they set a touchdown. I don't know about that one. That may be reviewed.
Yeah, at worst for DC, they're going to have a first down. But, yeah, that was close, Cam. I'll be shocked if Minnesota doesn't challenge this.
No way.
Yeah, he's way short. I'm not sure what they were looking at, Cam. That's going to be a waste of a challenge. That ball's at least a half yard short.
Yeah, that there's no question about that, Eddie. That was a poor spot, and Minnesota's going to win this challenge, Axel Raven.
Yeah, perhaps the bodies of the defenders got in the way of the side judge. He didn't get a good look at that.
The visiting team will not be charged with a timeout. First down.
So it will be first and goal at the 1 for the DC Dragons. This has been a long drive. 10th play of the drive coming up here for DC, trying to get their first points on the board. 2 in the backfield for Synergy. Synergy will hand it off to Say, and Say is not going to get in the end zone. A loss of 2 on the play, hitting the backfield by Tigga Clay and company.
Yeah, that play was doomed from the moment he said hike, as the strong safety was lined up right off the ball, and there were just too many men to block for the offensive lineman.
Second and goal at the 3. Say Lost 3 more. DC's going backwards, and this is the defensive slugfest we thought we'd see the first meeting this season, Eddie, and we're seeing it here so far in the first half.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised by that look we got from Minnesota on that play. They lined up with 3 defensive linemen. DC would have been better off audibly and running that ball up the middle. Here it is again. 3-3 nickel.
Third and goal at the 6. Spot route is tipped away and incomplete. Josh Gill was open just for a second, and Axel Raven knocked it away. You called it, Eddie.
I did, and I did not think he had the foot speed to quite get over there, Cam. But wow, this young linebacker got over there. I guess he's kind of jealous of B.J. Lovelace, all the praise he's been getting, because he's over in this game, Cam. # making an impact early.
.22-yarder for the DC Dragons is up and good. And it's 5-3 here in the early going. What a defensive performance by both teams in the red zone on 3 different occasions, Eddie. This has not been a back and forth between the 20s game. This has been a shut them down inside the 20 game.
They're taking on the Max Paul mindset of bend but don't break. And Axel Raven, the linebacker who just made the play, is in the SFL game chat saying # be like BJ.
5-3 up to the 23-yard line. Let's run through the Minnesota offense here tonight. Quarterback Johnny Reno, running back Colin Hart, fullback Tank Williams, the receivers Buchanan Simons, Quag Mam, Jay Taylor, and Adam Banks. Tight ends are Christian Bachagalupi and Jason France for the legend. On defense for the Dragons, on the line, Saeed Gore, John Gary, Jose Fuentes. Linebackers, Declan O'Rourke, Riley Hughes, Nathaniel Diggs. Corners, John DeSantis, Peanut Say, Daryl Bullock, and the safeties, Jorge Torres and Josh Vasquez. Reno on a 1st and 10 has an open receiver caught at the 41-yard line. That's an 18-yard pickup and a first down. That's Jay Taylor across the middle.
And shout out to the defense, the offensive line of the DC Dragons. That was a slow developing play. Actually had to sidestep a would-be tackler and finds his man Taylor for a pickup of a first down.
.9:30 to go in the first half. The 10th seeded Minnesota Legend expansion team in the SFL this season, trying to become the first expansion team to win a playoff game since Season 10's Indianapolis Red Devils nearly 5 years ago. Reno's pass is caught just outside of the outstretched arms of Riley Hughes. Jay Taylor again over the middle.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw that, Cam, but Jay Taylor must have saw that linebacker at the corner of his eye, because he kind of slowed his route up and cut up field a bit, because otherwise he would have got put in the hospital.
Taylor up to 42 yards on 3 receptions with a long of 18 as Reno will step up in the pocket looking for Taylor again. This time, actually check that, Banks, but this time DeSantis able to get a hand on it. He has been very active early.
And this time, Cam, DC does a great job of muscling these receivers at the line of scrimmage, did not give them a clean release, which made that play a problem from the get-go for Minnesota.
Good knockdown there. Jeremy Vega in the chat shouting out all of the former Denver Nightwings in this football game. And one of those guys is Javier Vasquez. Josh Vasquez rather, 716 tackles, 70 pass deflections, 49 interceptions on his career, Eddie. And Javier Vasquez now leading things over there in Denver on the field. But Josh Vasquez, boy, he's loving this transition over to the Dragons as the Dragons get another defensive stop, set up 3rd and 8.
Yeah, get a little bit more playing time over here, Cam. But Javier, as you said, he's the coach over there in Denver.
3rd and 8 at the 44-yard line for Johnny Reno. 5-3. What a baseball score here in the first half of this football playoffs. Over the top and dropped. Incomplete. Looking for Quag Mam. And in coverage, there he is. Josh Vasquez making the play that's going to force a punt. Good throw from Reno.
It was, and he had to throw it over the defender's head and put a little bit more touch on it than he wanted to, and that gave the safety enough time to get over there and help out his corner to knock that ball away.
Reno now 11 of 15, 82 yards, and the pick from earlier, just shy of his season completion percentage, which hovers around 75%. Minnesota punts it away inside the 10-yard line. That's going to dip down to the 5, and for the second time in this first half, Eddie, the Dragons will start from inside their own 5-yard line.
Yeah, but that's not a good decision there by the kick returner. You've got to field that ball. Anything from outside the 5, you got to put your hands on.
Shabazz Synergy in his career, 22,855 yards, 148 touchdowns in his 6th season in the SFL. 8:11 to go in the first half, and Synergy will hand it off to Say. Say had a little bit of room, but Minnesota quickly closes on that. There's his updated numbers, pick up a 4.
Yeah, and that time Minnesota came out in the off-man defense, and that was a great opportunity for Say to pick up more yardage there, but unfortunately, the hole collapsed.
2nd and 6, 7:46 to go in the first half. Synergy out to Say. Not much there, loss of 1. This DC Dragons offense completely. Shabazz Synergy at quarterback. Kevin Say, the running back. Chuck Steller at fullback. Your receivers, Gus Scott, Ronnie Shanahan, Mike Churchill, and Josh Gill. Tight ends, Lauren Percoco and Craig Westlake. On the Minnesota side, up front, Angela Meerkat, Mark Mello, Buster Johnson, Max Knight. Linebackers, B.J. Lovelace, Axel Raven, 1 Mississippi. We'll get to your secondary in a moment. 3rd down and 7, looking for the stop. Got it! Scott 2 yards shy of the sticks. That's Johnny Bravo, one of the 2 corners to watch for on this team today, forcing the stop, and we're still in a touchdownless first half.
Yeah, and that's bad news for DC because they're going to give Minnesota a great starting field position here with this punt, Cam.
Tyler mentioned it in pregame. The Dragons 0-4 this season against top 5 scoring defenses. Minnesota is one of those, and Minnesota is playing their style of game at the moment. From the 45-yard line, this is going to be great field position. Banks gets it out to the 42. Let's finish the rest of that Minnesota secondary that we just saw. Cody Griffin, Johnny Bravo at corners, safeties, Rick Evans, Daniel Wright, Tigga Clay, Derek Meerkat. Here's your stats from the first half so far. They'll update shortly. If we're lucky.
Man defense.
1st and 10 at the 42. Reno against that man is sacked. A loss of 4 yards on the play. John Gary with the stop.
And with Minnesota running slants, Cam, one of the slot receivers actually stayed in to block, which allowed his man to blitz as well, and it gets provided too many men for the offensive lineman to account for.
6:20 to go in a fast-moving first half. Minnesota 5, DC 3. Quirky first wild card playoff game of 4 this weekend in the SFL. Reno fires it out to Hart. Hart past the 45, gets up to the 40 and pick up about 5.5. And Eddie, we were talking about Colin Hart in the break, about how he's already done plenty of damage against the Dragons compared to last meeting.
Yeah, last game, Cam, he only had 37 yards rushing, and in this game, he surpassed that in the first quarter.
47 yards on 6 carries so far, and just got his 6th reception, did Hart. 3rd down and 8 at the 40. Reno incomplete. He really tried to thread the needle there. Jason France was the intended target. I like Reno's decision-making, but these are tough decisions, Eddie.
It is, and Jason France is 6'7", 270 pounds, Cam. He came over from Tulsa, took a role in the front office. That's a catch he's got to make. But DC, give them credit. They came out aggressive on that down, anticipating slants.
So Minnesota is going to punt again. They have no choice. They go 3 and out after DC gives them stellar field position. And Minnesota will punt it away. Can they get him inside the 5 again? No, they cannot. And the good fortunes on special teams runs out. There's your updated stats here in the first half. 123 yards for Minnesota, 86 for the Dragons. Not much to say for either side so far.
No, Cam, but with 5 minutes and a half left in this first half, DC has a perfect opportunity, Cam, to try and take the lead here.
5:28 left in a fast-moving first half full of defense, and Kevin Say is wrapped up for a 2-yard loss, brought down in the backfield by Mississippi. And the hits just keep coming for Kevin Say.
Yeah, that time they were anticipating that run play, Cam. He lined up on the edge, and it's the tight end's job to put a body on him, Cam. He totally whiffed on the play. Looked like a matador trying to dodge a bull, and he's tackling the backfield.
It's the 5th tackle for loss today for Minnesota. Kevin Say breaks off the right side, picks up 12. Eddie's moving furniture, and it's 3rd and 2 coming up.
It is, Cam, but my goodness, if Kevin Say stays outside, Cam, that could have been even a bigger pickup and potentially a first down, but he kept trying to cut it back inside.
Say's got 31 yards on 9 carries now in the first half. 4:35 to go in the second quarter of work. Both teams want it bad. Synergy flips out to Say. He's got a lot to say to the chain gang. Get moving, first down.
He's telling the chain gang to move those chains. He had both hands on the football, Cam, potentially trying not to fumble on a play. He had finished the season with 1 fumble, Cam. Didn't win a second one right there.
This is playoff football, isn't it, Eddie?
It is, and the defenses are playing like it.
Synergy 9 of 12 for 63 yards. Synergy pump fake down the middle, caught. First down to the 46-yard line. That's Gus Scott. Both teams mixing it up with their targets. Scott's 3rd catch and the 4th different receiver for Synergy to catch a pass.
Yeah, and that time, I believe it was Daniel Wright who was anticipating a shorter route. And he played him close to the sticks, but didn't trust his eyes quite so much. Didn't want to get beat over the top and gave up that first down.
Lauren Percoco's been quiet so far. But she's had a pretty terrific season. 555 yards at tight end, 4 touchdowns, caught 52 of her 66 targets. She's sneaky good. Once for her down the stretch as Synergy's pass is tipped up in the air and intercepted. Cody, no, check that. That's a different 4. Daniel Wright with the interception. And once again, Synergy trying to force the issue deep middle, not working.
Yeah, and I can't tell if it was blanket 4 or cover 12, but Minnesota had the right idea all along. And they benefit off yet another tip drill, Cam, in the second of this game.
So Baz Synergy, 10 of 14, 75 yards, couple of picks. QBR in the 40s right now. Very uncharacteristic of Synergy, who has the fewest interceptions in the SFL this season. Reno flips it out to Colin Hart, and the dual threat back, formerly of Sioux Falls in Louisiana, picks up 6 to the 45-yard line.
Yeah, and I believe that was 2 corners defense that time. And anytime you play an opponent who likes to play that, those running backs love it because those routes out to the flag are going to be wide open every time.
3 minutes to go. First half. Reno fires it outside. Hart open again. First down to the 49. You know, this is what Minnesota did killing D.C. and Baltimore, for that matter, in their previous meetings. If you're not going to cover Hart in the flat, they're just going to keep taking it.
Yeah, and both these teams, Cam, their tailbacks are the leading receivers for their respective teams.
Say and Hart, pretty even numbers in carries, but Kevin Say's been far more productive on the ground. Colin Hart productive in the air. This time a loss of 1. And, DC's going to force him to do something else. Jorge Torres with the TFL.
Great open field tackle by the free safety. 6 feet, 194. Not the biggest of guys, but he made an impact on that particular play, getting him down on the ground.
Minnesota 5. DC 3. Almost the end of the first half. Free play. Reno hit as he threw. Picked off. Not going to matter.
Not going to matter.
Although what does matter, Eddie, is that Reno just got nailed in the backfield.
He did.
He's going to be feeling that one.
Yeah, he's going to be getting up looking at his offensive lineman saying, hey, guys, that was a 3-and-throw. Come on, you can protect me a little bit longer than that.
Offside on John Gary. Wipes away the play.
Cam, do you think that DC is thinking back to last season and how they lost to Sioux Falls in that first round of the playoffs? Or is it still too early?
We'll find out after the commercial break. Minnesota 5, DC 3. It's the 2-minute warning. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. We will be back to the nation's capital in a moment. Two minutes left here in the first half. Minnesota 5 and DC 3. And Johnny Reno on a 2nd down and 6 nearly picks up the first down. Along with Eddie Gage, I'm Cameron Irvine, Chad Rowland, and Jack Brown on stats. Tyler Falk back in the studios. Looking forward to the halftime breakdown with him and a short preview of the rest of the SFL wildcard playoffs coming up this weekend. 3rd and inches. What do you want to see here, Eddie?
A dive to Colin Hart right up the 8 gap.
Hart, first down, yes, to the 38-yard line, puts it through, and the drive continues. Back to your thought, Eddie, about DC's loss to Tulsa in the first round of the playoffs last season. You know, with every passing minute DC is not winning this game, they're going to be thinking about it. They're 4.5-point favorites. 48.5 is the over-under. We're not even anywhere near that.
Yeah. Man defense again.
1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Reno deep, triple coverage, incomplete. But again, Eddie, because of where he put the ball, DC really not able to get a clean look at an interception. It was a perfect placement, but better coverage from DC. Jay Taylor, the intended receiver.
Great coverage, but you put that much air up underneath the ball, and you're asking for trouble. But it was a great throw nonetheless, despite the coverage.
2nd and 10 at the 38, 59 seconds to go in the first half. Reno fires it outside, and that's the fullback, and that's going nowhere. Yeah. That's Tank Williams with the catch. Minnesota burns their first time out.
And that was a smart choice there, Cam, to dump it off to his fullback, but there was no one open downfield.
Another 3rd down here for Minnesota.
Under a minute remaining. You got to at least get in field goal range.
Third downs for Minnesota so far, 3 for 7. DC's 2 for 5. Reno's pass caught. Banks, 50 seconds, no huddle now. 2 timeouts for Minnesota. Still plenty of time at the DC 26 as we're still looking for our first postseason touchdown of season 19. Reno fires it out to Hart. Hart looking for the sticks. Hart will get there. Gets out of bounds with 37 seconds to go at the 21-yard line of the Dragons. Declan O'Rourke with the play.
That previous play was 90Z arrow cam. It's designed to beat man coverage. You got 2 receivers running literally like on a 90-degree angle, and it's hard to defend that in man coverage.
Declan O'Rourke this season, 81 tackles, 9 passes defended, 8 tackles for loss. A well-balanced, all-around good season for Declan here in D.C. 37 seconds to go in the first half. Reno, pass, Simons, short of the sticks, no huddle, 30 seconds left.
Yeah, I consider burning the timeout right there.
Simons in the slot, 25 on the clock. Looking that way again, this time wide open. Simons first down to the 11, gets out of bounds with 21 seconds to go. Textbook drive going for Minnesota here, their 12th play of it.
Yeah, long drive, 21 seconds, you got all 3 timeouts. How aggressive do they get to try to get into the end zone, or they just try to protect the football and go for the leading field goal here? Let's see.
12-play, 55-yard drive, 11 passes for Reno on this drive. Started with 3:25 on the clock. 3 minutes in, Reno fires it outside Simons, out of bounds, 18 seconds left. 2nd and 6 at the 7. Coaches all around the league getting a little antsy now as the Legend have a couple more opportunities.
Yeah, and he actually audible to that out route there, Cam. He lined up on the wide side of the field. I was looking to see if he's going to pick up his momentum and cut up field and try to score.
Reno. 2nd and 6. Back foot incomplete. Looking for Bachagalupi in the back of the end zone, and I think that's going to be a wrap on this drive, Eddie. Going to be another field goal.
Yeah, I think so. And they brought the safety down, trying to cover the flat, and they threw it right where he just left from. But look at DC Johnny on the spot. We called his name out a couple of times today already, Vasquez, and what a great time to come up with a deflection there. Had he got his head around just a bit quicker, that could have been an interception.
Yeah, just at the last second.
Yeah.
He was able to sniff out that pass, and here comes Mickey Melillo for a field goal. I don't know that we've ever had an 8-3 halftime in any SFL game in history, Eddie. This has been a wacky one.
It has, Cam, but wow, both teams, these defenses have shown up today.
Field goal from 24 is good, and that, Eddie, is the 4th red zone stop in this first half that has not resulted in a touchdown. How crazy is that?
Offense sells tickets, defense win games. Gus Scott on a return. Let's see if he can get his team some good field position.
From the goal line. Scott on the return. Only gets to the 22. 6 seconds left. If I was Synergy in this offense, I'd just hand it off to Kevin Say, see if he can do something with it.
Yeah, and I don't remember the opposition who they were playing, but there was a play in which he ran the ball and scampered like 60 yards for a touchdown, close out the half.
Only 31 yards on 9 carries.
All right, tight end flex.
Certainly still fresh, only 3 catches. No, Synergy
Big
going to send everybody.
It
It hit him in the head. Cody Griffin almost had a second. Daniel Wright got the second one for Minnesota, but wow, that was risky. Almost pick 6 written all over it.
Yeah, and B.J. Lovelace was also in the area, but he wanted no part of that interception, Cam.
And Potty says in our SFL chat room, exclusive to SFL members, that he's almost in range, Eddie. He's almost in field goal range. 2nd and 10 at the 22. They are going to throw again. Kevin Say, get him out in the open field, makes a man miss, And that's the end of that. That is the end of the first half, Eddie. What a wild and wacky first half it was. Minnesota 8, DC 3. Okay, that's the way we're going to play it. We'll be right back after the break. You're watching the SFL on Next Level Sports. Welcome to the APM Music Halftime Report along with Tyler Falk. I'm Cameron Irvine, and at halftime it is 8-3. Minnesota on top of DC. That's got to be a first in SFL history, in terms of halftime scores. But Tyler, your thoughts on the first half? You have plenty to dissect here.
Well, I mentioned the purple people eaters and the steel curtain to begin the ball game, but I didn't actually think we'd actually see more of a baseball scoreline. I thought I was watching the Dodgers and Padres version 3 of a 5-3 scoreline for about half the football game. But it goes to show that both defenses came to play today. Minnesota on offense looks to be the more composed, and I think this is the best game that Johnny Reno has had on the road, even with the interception, even without throwing a touchdown pass. The game plan for the Minnesota legend coming in today on offense has worked wonders to get him in a comfortable rhythm. And to begin the football game, we had those 2 back-to-back interceptions thrown on all slants. And the one thing that I'd probably recommend to the Minnesota and for DC is a play that we saw about midway through the first quarter and start to see a whole lot of the second quarter, where Jay Taylor for Minnesota would come across on a deep, maybe 7, 8, 9 yard in route, which really opened up their playbook.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Reno, not a bad first half. Did have the one mistake, but 22 of 30. He's definitely gotten a lot of time out there on the field. He's on pace for 300 yards, but that lone interception was killer. And somebody in this game, I think the team that gets a touchdown in the red zone may win this one, Tyler. I mean, it's just been that kind of game. So we're looking forward to the second half. Let's go to the rest of the wild card weekend slate, and we've got some good ones on tap tonight. Lone Star and Arizona. Of course, Lone Star was last season's runners-up to Baltimore. They entered these playoffs as a 12 seed. Kind of reminds me, Tyler, when Florida entered a 12 seed. Was that last season that they did? Yeah. So it's weird seeing a team like Lone Star as the 12 seed, but they sneak in. Houston Sioux Falls tomorrow evening. GP Wells going back to Sioux Falls, and Houston enjoying their first winning season in years. And then Fort Worth, Vancouver, that's going to be a doozy right here on Next Level Sports. Last time Fort Worth was in the playoffs, they lost in Vancouver. That was a few seasons ago. So looking forward to seeing that one. What catches your eye, Tyler, on this playoff slate?
Well, when you look at the game coming up later tonight on SFL, YouTube, Arizona, and Lone Star, you look at maybe one of the up-and-coming quarterback duels, Ashley Jackson versus Ace Fennick. Ace Fennick, number 3 in passing yards this season, and Ashley Jackson having one of her best seasons on record in terms of completions this season. Best so far this in her career with 375. She leads the league coming into the playoffs with the number 1 completion percentage at 77.3%, and she hasn't been hit a whole lot. She's tied her career low in total number of sacks with 13. So look for Ashley Jackson to really have a good game versus Lone Star, but also look for Ace Fennick to find his way around. One of the best in terms of touchdowns. Both these quarterbacks top 10 in touchdowns. Ace in front of Ashley, 29 touchdowns to 24 touchdowns. On to tomorrow's games, Houston and Sioux Falls. What I'm looking forward to there, I'll be on the call for that one. And the one thing that really stands out for me is when we talk about defense with DC and Minnesota, look no further than another Central Division foe in the Sparrows. Top 10 in every single defensive category, or pretty much that way for the Sparrows. Number 1 in points allowed per game, number 3 in passing yards allowed, number 1 in rushing touchdowns allowed. Houston is going to have their hands full on offense with that just brutal Sioux Falls front 7. On to the final game, and we'll cover it more on Sunday. Camp Fort Worth and Vancouver. It's like a bookend for the Fort Worth Toros. They come in their second season, have their first until this season, their only winning record where they go 8-4. They play Vancouver in the second round of their playoffs. They get knocked out. They back with a winning season after 2 seasons on the under 500 train. They play Vancouver again. It's time for a little bit of redemption. However, that Toros offense is going up against 2 of the best tacklers behind the line in the league. When you talk about Gerald Giudice and the Greek nightmare Achilles Papatonis combining with 42 tackles for loss, that's exactly half the number of total tackles for loss that Vancouver has coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, and that defensive line does not get enough credit in Vancouver. It's always about the flashy passing game, and that's what gets the headlines out in Vancouver. But Gerald Giudice and Achilles Papatonis having some banner seasons. 8-3, Minnesota leads DC in the half. Home fans have not had a lot to cheer about, getting nervous out there after the Dragons lost at home to Tulsa last season in the wild card round in an upset. What's going to be the key to the second half in your mind, Tyler?
I think they need to simplify the game plan just a little bit. And what I mean by that is it already looks like a simple game plan on paper and what we've seen so far. But I think what needs to be communicated to the quarterback synergy is we still got time. Our defense has kept us in it. Don't try and force too many more passes. We'll march down the field, take up some of this clock. A touchdown gives us the lead. That's all we need right now. So simplify the game plan and let the defense continue to limit Minnesota through the air, which they've done to reasonable effect as well as they kept them out of the end zone. From Minnesota, they forgot about Hart for a long time in that second quarter. And I think they need to go back to Hart, especially as they want to maybe control the football game going on in the second half.
Yeah, 49 yards on 7 carries. He's averaging 7 yards a pop. He could really run the clock out here on DC's quarterfinal playoff hopes if the Dragons can't find an answer for him on the ground. All right, thank you, Tyler. We'll see you back here for post to wrap things up. Eddie and I on the call for the second half. Going to be a fun one. Minnesota 8, DC 3. I can almost guarantee more points in the second half. Let's see if that's how that pans out when we come back. You're watching the SFL playoffs on Next Level Sports. Start of the second half, and Minnesota going to get the football. 8-3. It was a doozy of a first half with some wacky plays, wacky scores. Both teams moving the football, but terrific red zone defense. Along with Eddie Gage, I'm Cameron Irvine. Jack Brown, Chad Rowland in our stats truck tonight doing a fantastic job. A couple of records or milestones set in that first half. B.J. Loveless passes Ajumu Afalabi for 30th all-time in tackles. And Kevin Say, now 30th all-time in rushing yards, tops Elliott Snyder, Eddie, the former Baltimore Crab and your former teammate.
My former teammate, still keep in touch with that guy. Living over there in Kentucky, enjoying life.
Third quarter, getting going. Johnny Reno going to start with a deep pass, and it's caught. First down to the 41-yard line, a 20-yard gain to Jason France for a first down.
Yeah, they caught DC there playing aggressive, playing the sticks, and left them single safety high. It's a lot of turf to guard a big man like France in the middle.
That, Eddie, is the longest pass play of the game for Minnesota. That is their first 20-yard pass. Colin Hart did have a 25-yard run. DC has one 20-yard play, a Mike Churchill reception. First and 10 at the 41-yard line. Slants for Reno. This is complete. Although Simons had to rip it away from Peanut Say. Gets a first down for Minnesota.
Yeah, Say was going for the interception, but he had outside contain and just could not get over there in time.
Nearly another 20-yard play there, and that goes for 15, and Minnesota has come out firing here in this third quarter. I'm a little shaken up by all the offense all of a sudden as Reno's out of the shotgun with nobody open, and he sheds a tackle and throws it away with an eligible receiver in the area. May have been Reno's best play of the day.
It may have been, Cam, because he should have been sacked twice, and somehow eludes the defenders and throws the football away.
So look at your team stats. 4.8 yards a play for Minnesota. 220 total yards to just 117 for the Dragons. Eddie, shocking.
Yeah.
Second and 10 at the 43. Jay Taylor, bottom of the screen. And he vacates the zone, and Jason France gets a first down to the 29. A 14-yard pickup. Taylor took everyone with him, and France came in underneath.
Yeah, you took it right out of my mouth, but I tell you what, DC played that great. They came out in the cover 3 defense out of the 4-3, and you're right. He has 2 receivers over there that he's responsible for looking at, keeping his eyes on, and Jason France has used his big body to muscle him out of there and pick up that first down.
France now 42 yards on 3 receptions.
2 of them on this drive.
And Johnny Reno is cooking. 25 of 34 now. $195. QBR approaching 80. Going to throw again. First and 10 at the 29. Fires it out to Hart. Hart's got 6. Wrapped up at the end of the play by Nathaniel Diggs. Brings up second down and 4. It's playoff time. Think you can draft the best SFL fantasy football team while staying under the salary cap? Or maybe you just want to enhance your SFL experience. Free to play, no season-long commitment, and we'll be tracking the season winners in a separate special contest. The wild card deadline has passed, but you can still play in the quarterfinals next weekend. See league content on SFL Discord for more details. Hart gets the carry, and see Eddie Gage for the regular season championship details. Third down. I see you.
I hope so, Cam. This is a big third down for both teams here. Third and short is manageable, and every time Minnesota's lining up in a manageable situation, they've converted. Let's see if DC can stop them here.
Third down and 3. 5 for 10 on third down for Minnesota. 6 for 11. Bachagalupi, one of the best ways
Got a
to
man down.
Oh, we do. And it's Buchanan Simons. That is huge. First injury of the day.
First injury of the day, and, man, could not have happened at a worse time for Minnesota. They're driving downfield. Buchanan Simons, starting wide receiver. He's been a big threat, big deep threat in previous seasons for Chicago, but Minnesota uses him more as a move the chains guy. But let's just hope he comes back to this game, Cam.
I don't know if he saw Torres.
No, I don't think he saw him either.
Almost looked like a blind hit. Simons, 5 catches, 47 yards on 5 targets in this game. He's been terrific, 9.4 yards a carry, and they need his presence out there. 1st and 10 at the DC 14, and Reno's pass is intercepted. Jump the route. Another red zone stop in this football game, picked off by Josh Vasquez.
And that's the second time, Cam, that we seen them bring that safety down in the box, anticipating 90-yard slants. They got it, and
Another
Josh
one.
Vasquez, Johnny on the spot. And I'll tell you what, the quarterback saved that from being a pick 6.
Wow. That drive for Minnesota wiped away after 8 plays, 65 yards. And I'm losing track of all the red zone stops in this football game. Synergy
Big 7-step
gonna try
drop.
and take a shot. He's
Oh, he got him.
Churchill knocked over the referee. One man chasing, not gonna catch him. Touchdown, DC. That's how you answer for your defense.
50XZ deep outs came. I was wondering when DC would take a strike deep. They finally do catch the defense napping. The safety could not get back over there. They caught him out of position, Cam.
Oh.
Looking in the backfield,
Two
and he
of them
runs
got in the
right
way.
past him.
Well, initially trying to cover Churchill, they ran over an official. There's one down,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Mike
Another
Churchill
one.
runs over a second. My
Oh.
goodness.
Wow, talk about waking up this crowd, Cam. This crowd was sitting on their hands and knees, hoping for a miracle, praying to the SFL gods that their offense woke up, and it finally did.
SFL insurance premiums for the officials are going up. That's not good. And Mike Churchill's got 116 yards on 4 catches, thanks to that 82-yard bomb off the score. 10-8 is your new score.
It sounds like a shootout between the Dodgers and the Padres, Cam.
Eventually, we'll start. We'll stop plugging baseball, and we can get back to football. But I mean, right now, I mean, that was a home run for DC, if I do say so myself. That and that's the perfect opportunity to take that shot, right, Eddie? I mean,
Yeah.
you just got Minnesota down in shock, really, that they didn't come away with any points on that drive. And Synergy uncorks one, lets it fly up to 163 yards for Shabazz, half of his yardage today on that one throw.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all it takes to wake up your offense. Let's see if the defense can respond in kind.
Unbelievable. So Simons gets hurt. Then Minnesota throws the pick. Then
Yeah.
DC gets the touchdown.
Oh,
8 minutes to
trifecta.
go in the third. 7
Oh.
yards a carry for Hart so far today. And we got another injury somewhere.
Oh, my goodness. Colin Hart is down. He's going to miss the next play.
I don't know. He
He
did-
got up, Cam, but he's headed to the sidelines.
He did get up, and it's going to, I think it's going to result in a 12-yard pickup. And actually, Eddie, I'm not sure that anybody was actually hurt on that play. It appeared that they had stopped the game for someone, but I may be seeing ghosts after that Buchanan Simons
Well,
injury.
he's not in the backfield right now, Cam.
Reno, oh, there he is, right there.
Oh, there he is.
Proving us wrong, and Colin Hart. Hey, I mean, after seeing, and there you go, Buchanan Simons is done for the day. That is huge. After seeing
Yeah,
his
it is
teammate go
huge.
down, I don't think Hart's going to let anything keep him out of this game now.
Yeah, that looked like a 40, but perhaps that was the angle of the camera. I thought that was another back in the backfield, but he's tough.
2nd and 5 at the 36-yard line. 10-8 DC in the third quarter. This is playoff football. Colin Hart takes the flip out, picks up a couple more, brings up 3rd down and 3. And Eddie Hart's averaging 7.6 yards a carry on 3rd and 3. Just got to give it to him up the middle, right?
You do. And Peanuts say we've seen him a few times today make some great open field tackles out here.
3rd
Down and
formation.
3, Cam. It's manageable again. Let's see if they can convert.
Watch Tank Williams, fullback in the backfield, 7 in the box for DC. And no, it's going to be a pass and a lot of routes wide open. Christian Bacigalupi with another catch. And he's stepping up in the absence of Simons. And this third down offense has been incredibly efficient in the passing game. That's Bacigalupi's second catch.
Well, you know, Minnesota's offense get a lot of flack for their lack of production, but most of that came early on. Since that Carolina loss, Cam, they've been averaging over 30 points a game.
First catch, actually, for Bacigalupi. The other one was out of bounds. Hart tried to bounce it outside, can't find any space. Vasquez with the tackle, his 6th solo of the game. Now it's 2nd and 9.
Yes, tight end got caught up in the backfield, was unable to clear enough airspace to get Colin Hart going.
2nd down 9 at the 46. Another drive for Minnesota. It's long and
Great
winding.
tackle.
3rd and 10. Excellent stop there. That's Gary.
Yeah, Gary lined up wide as if he's going to go after the passer, Cam, but saw the ball getting handed off. And wow, that was an athletic play he made to totally stop his body weight, cut back inside and make that tackle. Great agility.
3 drives for Minnesota today. 8 plays or more, an interception and 2 field goals on those drives.
90 Ziero.
Reno's pass is caught. Dropped by Banks and then caught by Mam, but 2 yards shy of the first down. And I think that's going to be a punt for the legend. DC gets a stop.
I think you're right, Cam. And no, they're going to go for it here. At least
boy.
Hold on. Hold your horses. Not just yet.
DC has jumped offside. They are in DC territory. This would be a bad time to waste a timeout for Minnesota down 2. And they're headed that way, Eddie. Down to 8 on the play clock. Down to 5. Timeout,
Discipline play.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
And DC wins another play here in this 3rd quarter. They don't blink, and the legend lose a precious timeout, and they'll have to punt the football away.
Precious timeout, Cam, in the second half. You got to make the decision to either go for it or punt that football away, and you're hoping as a Minnesota fan that they don't come back to that doesn't come back to bite them late. Great discipline though by that DC front line.
Another 8-play drive that doesn't end in anything. DC has had the ball 1 play in the first 7 minutes of this 3rd quarter. The touchdown.
The touchdown.
For 82 yards. Punt is away and won't start inside the 10 this time. Scott's return out to the 16-yard line takes us to a commercial break. DC's up 10-8. The pressure, the intensity is mounting for the Dragons and the legend. You're watching the Season 19 playoffs on Next Level Sports presented by APM Music. We'll be right back.
of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
4:22 to go in the third quarter of play. 10-8 DC leads Minnesota. You're watching the SFL playoffs on Next Level Sports, and Kevin Say's got a big lane off the right side, gets to the 35-yard line. That is a pickup of 19, and Say's up to 50 yards.
And that tackle there by Daniel Wright, Cam, was the difference between Kevin Say getting tackled out of bounds and dancing in the end zone, because he was the last line of defense. He was trying to make a spin move and get out of it, but Daniel Wright brings him down.
Wright's had a pretty good football game. Had the interception earlier, trying to hold down this Minnesota defense, and it really does feel like ever since Mike Churchill's touchdown, this game has turned on its head. Really, ever since Buchanan Simon's injury, and you could say that happened in the first meeting when DC lost Mike Churchill to an injury. Synergy over to Say, got a lot of space, picks up 9. Good open field tackle there by Raven, but back to Churchill for a second, getting a little revenge on the legend.
Yeah, he's the same gentleman who went out in their first meeting. He missed, I believe, a good chunk of that second half, but also Kevin Say went down, Cam, and missed a good chunk of the first half.
2nd and 1 at the 44. DC healthy today thus far. Say gets a first down. Raven another tackle to the Dragon 48-yard line, and it just feels like Minnesota clinging to life, hoping that they can get DC in the red zone and get a stop.
Yeah, they're playing this bend but don't break style defense, but right now they want a turnover.
Loveless with a few tackles, but not a single pass deflection today, which is surprising. Eddie, 5 tackles, 2 PDs for Axel, as Say gets a block and picks up 4 yards. We know Loveless can really play in some great coverage, but they have kept the ball away from his area of the field today.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much running up the middle, Cam, and even when they do pass, it's been his buddies who've been making the pass deflections, even when it's thrown over the middle.
2nd and 6 at the 48-yard line. 2.5 to go in the third quarter. Synergy fires it out to Say, and Say is combo hit by Cody Griffin and Raven. 3rd and 3 now. That looked like a jump in an alleyway, Eddie. That was not pretty.
It was not. That's Raven 3rd tackle on this drive already, Cam.
3rd and short. 2:10 to go. These playoff games. We missed this in season 19. We didn't have these nail-biter playoff games, and we got one right off the jump here this afternoon. Going into evening, pair slot right, says Eddie Gage. That's a Mike Churchill first down to the 34, 12-yard pickup. Churchill eating. First down again for DC.
And I wonder if he had Atlanta on his mind when he put this play in his playbook, Sebastian Synergy, the offensive coordinator for DC, because they love that pair slot right. 90Z quick out.
Synergy today, 16 for 21, 191 yards. QBR just slightly under 80. Say, trap, middle. Pretty nice block off that left side, and ends up getting 5 on the play, wrapped up by Rick Evans.
Yeah, and BJ Lovelace got double teamed there. He's trying to make a play, and he had, I believe, the center and the guard come out there and meet him.
.120 to go in the third quarter. 8th play of the drive for the Dragons. 3 runs, 4 passes on this drive. Say, stretch right. First down to the 21-yard line. What'd you see, Eddie?
If he breaks that tackle, there's no one in front of him but free safety Daniel Wright, and he's getting double teamed. Kevin Say would have been dancing in the end zone right about now.
Right
my
there.
Goodness. There was no one in front of him. Minnesota caught a break there, Cam.
Under a minute to go. 9th play of the drive. DC averaging 10 yards a play on this drive nearly. They have been rolling on this Legend defense. Synergy out of the gun, steps up in the pocket, fires into triple coverage. The pass is incomplete. Cody Griffith could have had it. Synergy was looking for the end zone, trying to put the exclamation point on, and Minnesota just could not collect it.
Yeah, and that would have been, oh my goodness, as he tried to throw the ball off 1 foot, Cam had no lower body strength behind the pass, took strength off of it, and man, Minnesota, they biting their teeth right now. That's one they should have picked off.
2nd and 10 at the 21 now, off the incompletion from Synergy. 10th play of the drive. Synergy, handoff to Say, running left, and he spins back inside, although he was really nowhere to go anywhere. Anyway, Loveless on the tackle.
Yeah, Loveless. Did you see him fight? That man ran about 8 yards to make the tackle. BJ Loveless, he getting tired of double teams, so he decided to be more aggressive on that particular play.
3rd and 12. Huge third down here for DC. 3 for 6. On 3rd down, Synergy, deep shot, it is incomplete. Terrific one-on-one coverage down the field. Churchill was the intended receiver, and I think it was Bravo that knocked it down. Let's see.
I think that was Bravo, Cam, and I thought he had outside leverage, but talk about coming in and making an impact.
Wow.
He gets over there and bats that ball down. I thought that was a touchdown.
Literally knocked it out of his hands as he's falling backwards. That's a tremendous defensive effort there by Bravo.
That had touchdown written all over it, but Johnny Bravo was Johnny on the spot.
So 40-yarder now for Potty.
Potty said, give me them points.
He's 2 for 2 so far today. This is by far his longest kick. And it's up and true. Easy money. 13-8. Slowly but surely, we are creeping to the 48.5 under. You took the under tonight, you win.
Yeah, Potty hit a 52-yarder to give DC life when they played Arizona a season ago. And it was all the momentum they need to come back and win that game. And once he hit it, I had a feeling we were in trouble.
But 12 plays, 71-yard drive, only ends in 3 points. Minnesota got to feel pretty okay about that.
Oh, yeah.
And from 4 yards deep in the end zone, Banks is going to bring it out, and he won't get – well, they do just give him the 20-yard line. But interesting decision there. So 3 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Fast-moving quarter, Cam, yet again.
The stats have evened up.
Yeah. Yeah, evened up in terms of turnovers, which I thought was going to be key to this game. And both teams, lucky they only have 2.
289 to 270. DC now at 6.4 yards per play. 1st and 10 at the 20. Reno fires it outside. That's going to end the quarter. Jay Taylor picks up 5. No Buchanan Simons for Minnesota.
Yeah.
They give up 10 unanswered in the third quarter, and that ends the third quarter of play. Washington, D.C. 13, Minnesota 8, end of 3. The SFL's first Season 19 wild card game this weekend on Next Level Sports. Don't go anywhere. Exciting conclusion to come.
Jafoa's up.
Beautiful shots of Washington, D.C., the Capitol building. We start the fourth quarter, Eddie. 13-8. D.C. on top of Minnesota. Whew, they are trying. What a game we've had. Start of the fourth quarter, 13-8. D.C. on top of Minnesota. Along with Eddie Gage, I'm Cameron Irvine. Jack Brown, Chad Rowland, and our stats truck doing a great job. Tyler Falk holding down things at SFL Studios tonight as Colin Hart gets a first down to the 31, averaging 5 yards a carry. That's his 12th carry of the game so far.
Yeah, he's hanging in there, Cam. We were just talking about it during the break. His durability so far, that's his 12th carry on the game, but he's also been involved in the passing game. Hopefully he ate his Wheaties this morning.
26 total touches for 127 all-purpose yards now for Colin Hart. Picked up 6 on that last play. 1st and 10 at the 31, quickly outside, and a little bit short there. Jay Taylor had to scramble just to go and get that football away from an oncoming defender. Picks up 4.
Yeah, that was actually a smart play by Taylor, coming back for the football because the defense was closing in on him.
Taylor's had to step up with Buchanan Simons out of the football game. Now 73 yards on 7 receptions, 9 targets with a long of 18. 2nd and 6 at the 35. Hand off to Hart. Hart picks up 2. Tackled from behind by Rob Slaughter on the defensive line. Wow, great play.
That's going to bring up a big 3rd down and 4, Cam, and Minnesota needs to find a way to keep their offense on the field.
7 of 13, twice as many 3rd downs as DC in this game. 2 receivers, top of the screen, 3rd down and 4. They fire it outside, caught despite the fall. Taylor again with the catch, 1st down of the 43.
And that's a set you usually see Florida run a 50X spot of. They line up in gun split twins and run a 50X spot, and the receiver running a skinny post on one side of the field.
1st and 10 at the 43. Another move of the chains for the legend. They go back to Hart.
My goodness.
Through the air, and Riley Hughes brings him down for no gain.
Riley Hughes almost killed him, Cam. He lowered his shoulder and literally just sacrificed his body to make that tackle.
It's not often, Eddie, you see a team doubled up on 3rd downs. I mean, Minnesota, they're on pace for 20 here. They have, I mean, it's been blood-sucking drives, but everything's been painful.
Oh, my
for
goodness.
them. And Colin Hart only picks up 2 yards on another reception, so here comes another 3rd down.
Cam, and I couldn't get the number, but I think that was Hughes again. Did you see how fast he got over there to make that tackle? My goodness.
Riley Hughes, 6 solo tackles on the day, a pass deflection. 4th season, all with DC. 3rd down and 8. Reno.
Oh, they blitzed.
And it's incomplete. So just threw that into no man's land. Somebody's got to catch it, right? Nobody did. Adam Banks was the intended target, and that's a rough way for that drive to end, Eddie. The 3rd and shorts are becoming 3rd and long as this game has progressed.
Yeah, they brought Declan to work on a blitz that time, Cam, and didn't give him the time he needed to find an open receiver and get that ball off.
Coming up tonight on YouTube, Lone Star Glory take on the Arizona Scorpions. The 12-5 matchup here in the wild card as Scott gets it out at the 27. That kickoff slated for 8:45 Eastern, probably looking about 9 Eastern with the way this game has progressed.
Yeah.
Steady as she goes, but a lot of back and forth action, plenty of possessions for both teams.
Plenty of possessions for both teams. DC wants to try and get Kevin Say involved in this drive and take some time off this clock.
Synergy's out of the gun. Yep.
Yeah.
Eddie and I right on the same page. Shabazz fires it to Say too late. Yep, a loss of 1 yard.
Yeah, spent too much time looking for an open receiver. Nothing was open downfield. They ran slants again, and Minnesota did a great job defending it.
APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. Synergy out of the gun, 2nd and 11, going long. It's caught again by Mike Churchill. Churchill has owned Minnesota in the second half. Another big play down the field for a first down.
Mike Churchill is reminding this Minnesota defense what they missed out on when he got hurt in their last match a couple of weeks ago, making an impact on this game, Cam, in a big way. $156 receiving yards for Churchill and that long 82-yard touchdown.
Under 7 to go now. Minnesota has not scored in the second half. Synergy fires it out to Say, and Say is wrapped up by Johnny Bravo. That is such a difficult tackle to make. And Say averaging less than 4 yards a catch in this game. Minnesota's been great in the flats.
They have. It's not just Bravo. It's been a couple of people here for Minnesota doing a great job bringing that man down the open field. Not an easy thing to do.
6:26 and counting. Again, they're looking for Say, and he picked up a block. But he just couldn't get the momentum moving forward. Now 3rd and long.
And now DC has to be very careful with this football, Cam. We seen him just convert on a long pass to Churchill, but now Minnesota's going to be anticipating it. Let's see who wins this battle.
Well, that's kind of the difference in the second half, and it hadn't been, Eddie. I mean, DC's found their deep passing game, and Minnesota has not.
Yeah.
They lost Simons. And DC's ability to open things up in the second half has put them in front. Now they go empty backfield, 5 wide, 3rd down and 11. They need the Minnesota 37.5-yard line. DC against a 4-man rush. Got him. Josh Gill all alone. It's not even a contest. Touchdown, DC.
Yeah, and what a time to catch the defense slipping, Cam. Oh, my goodness. Cody Griffin allowed the receiver to run right by him, and they lined up close to the line of scrimmage, anticipating 90-yard slants. It was not. It was 50x8 post, and the receiver runs right by him. And, wow, Cam, you can just feel the wind possibly being let out of the sails of this Minnesota team.
Looking for the upset tonight, but it is falling apart for the Minnesota legend. The expansion team, only one to finish with a winning record, trying to become the first team since season 10 to win a playoff game in their inaugural season, and the DC Dragons are saying, hold on, it's our time. Allegedly, with 6:01 to go, 20 to
Allegedly,
8.
Cam. There's still a lot of time left.
Minnesota got a score, and, well, it depends on how you look at it, because DC's offense been firing on all cylinders in the second half, 17 straight points.
Yeah.
You may want to just a long drive and then see if you can get an onside kick. Maybe they'll never get the ball back at all. That's at least what Minnesota may be hoping for. Adam Banks cut right, and then Craig Westlake said that was a bad decision at the 23-yard line.
Took his legs from up under him, Cam, brought him straight to the ground. That looked like it hurt.
That's what my uncles used to do in Thanksgiving football, but they're too old now. So they just sit on the sidelines. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. 5:56 to go in the 4th. I got the last laugh. Reno down the field. That's caught by Taylor. Pickup of 8 to the 31.
Taylor has stepped up in the second half, Cam, since the injury to his teammate. And Axel Ravens reminded me there's still a ton of air up on those sails, Cam.
Johnny Reno today, 36 of 47 for 256 yards, 37 of 48 rather. QBR hovering around 70. He's done pretty good with his work. Outside to Colin Hart, wide open. Colin Hart past the 40 to the 42. That's a first down. The clock does keep moving. Now it's going to come down to no huddle offense and how Minnesota plans to execute.
And I thought Colin Hart got out of bounds there. Can let's get another look at this. Maybe they're saying his knee was down before he got out of bounds. Yeah, he might have had that right knee down.
tackle, I believe it's tackle initiated in the field of play, keeps the clock moving.
It also depends on the forward progress. If you can stop his
Yep.
forward progress, that automatically stops the clock, or keeps the clock going, excuse me.
So under 5 to go now for Minnesota, 20-8. DC on top.
Open again.
Hart.
Oh,
the
just missed the block.
Whiffed
Oh.
it. Riley Hughes with the easiest tackle he'll get. Now no huddle. I'm not sure this is
Yeah.
what you want to be in. I don't know if they have anything else out of this. Hart's got to get out of bounds. Cannot.
Not going to happen.
A mess.
Yeah, not a good
4:37 to
time.
go. Yeah, this is worst case scenario for
Yeah.
Minnesota. That's why it's difficult. The timing of that first down with
Yep.
where the clock was.
Oh,
Now, the good news for Minnesota is they get to reset and go for it here on 4th and 6, but you have to at this point.
yeah, and you got to convert. They need 6 yards, so you have to be aggressive. You don't have time to take what the defense gives you. You got to find a way to pick up at least 6 yards.
First down is the DC 48-yard line.
Press defense, 3-2 look. You got a linebacker covering a wide receiver. Let's see if they can take advantage of it. And they do.
Reno,
He
incomplete.
drops it.
No, it was DeSantis, the second time of the game,
They
swatting
didn't
it
go
away.
to him. Oh,
Minnesota is crumbling.
yeah, they are, and that's unfortunate because they had a linebacker covering a wide receiver, but he was not lined up against one of their star wide receivers that benefited them there.
Take a short
Tough
break.
break.
Minnesota back up against the wall. We'll be right back. This is the SFL playoffs on Next Level Sports. .353 to go in the fourth quarter, and Kevin Say nearly picks up a first down to start us off. Minnesota is desperate. They need to hold for a field goal and get some kind of miracle here as well.
Yeah, and they caught Minnesota on this occasion looking inside for perhaps a dive play, but Kevin Say was running outside the entire time and almost picked up a first down.
Minnesota's offense, no touchdowns in this one. The Legend average 23.6 points per game. Offense not their strong suit. Defense much better. And they've held DC to their average, 20 points a game. DC scored 20, but the offense has not helped them out. DC ticks the clock down. Kevin Say's got a first down, and that's going to roll us some more.
Yeah, he barely put that first down, Ken. They were doing all they could to contain him.
So the Dragons will get one more playoff before the 2-minute warning. They are approaching field goal range. Up 20-8 on Minnesota in the first wild card game. The SFL reseeds after the wild card, so the lowest seed, worst record goes to London in the quarterfinal round next weekend, and everyone shuffles from there. And then the bracket locks going from the quarterfinals and beyond. So yet to be known where DC will fit into all of this. Kevin Say's got a lot of space, picks up 8 more. And that'll take us down to the 2-minute warning. Kevin Say approaching 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, you just wonder if this Minnesota defense is starting to get tired, because in the first half we seen Colin Hart having gaping holes. Here, late in this second half, it's been DC taking advantage of the gaping holes, Cam.
74 plays for Minnesota to just 50 for DC, but a lot of that has come here in the fourth quarter. 2-minute warning, last break. Minnesota needs a miracle. We'll see if they get it when we come back. You're watching the SFL playoffs presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. Don't go anywhere. Back here in Washington, D.C., where the D.C. Dragons are on the cusp of winning their first playoff game since Season 5 and advancing to the quarterfinals. They'll hand it off to Say. He is stopped. Remember, Minnesota used one of their timeouts on the fourth down attempt that they did not end up taking. So one left. They have to get this stop on third down or it's curtains.
Gotta have it here, fellas.
I think it's a Say run here, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Weak stretch. There it is.
Weak stretch it is. And Kevin Say's got the first down, and that's how you get to the quarterfinals. DC puts the legend on ice.
It was actually a weak power. Oh, they pulled the right guard, Cam, but nonetheless, they get the job done. Kevin Say follows his help. It's the first down, and yeah, with Minnesota burning that last time out, Cam, it's pretty much curtains.
So Kevin Say ends up with 92 yards on 97 yards, 19 carries. Just shy of 100, but he'll take the W. His first as a pro. And how about these DC Dragons, Eddie? They conquer their demons. They're moving on.
They did. As we talked about earlier, they avenged themselves of that loss they took in the first round at home versus Tulsa last season. They came out today. The offense started out slow, but credit this Minnesota defense for making it that way. But they fought back, made some changes at halftime, and put this game away with a deep passing game.
I'm not sure how much the Simons injury hurt Minnesota offensively, but it definitely hurt their defense, who was a little shell-shocked that they had to come out on the field, and the game was never the same after that.
Yeah, they turn the ball. He gets hurt. They turn the ball over. Defense back out in the field as they were in the SFL red zone, Cam. That's a lot to take on.
And Tyler Falk reporting that this is a scoregami. If you care about those things, I personally do. 20-8 has never happened in over 2,100 SFL competitions. And, well, that's some kind of achievement. Depends on who you are as to what that. And we're back. Sorry for those technical difficulties, but the ball game is over. 20-8, the final score just wrapped up. And let's go to post game, Eddie.
DC comes back, avenged that first-round playoff loss from last season, Cam. The offense started out slow, but all credit to this Minnesota defense, who pretty much dictated the pace of how this game was going to go. But at halftime, Sebastian Synergy and company made the proper adjustments. Lord Detcher was all in my DM saying, hey, we got to get this fixed and get it fixed now. Had a conversation with his guys, got more aggressive in the second half in terms of the deep passing game with a bunch of 7-step drops to put this aggressive defense away, Cam.
And there was the play of the game. I mean, no question. Mike Churchill with the long bomb down the field. And it wasn't pretty, but DC got it done. And now they'll figure out who they're going to face. If Arizona wins, they know they won't face London. And if Arizona and Vancouver wins, they know that they'll avoid playing either Baltimore or London in the first round. And DC does not want to play Baltimore in the first round because Baltimore housed them twice.
Yeah, housed them twice, and they did it two different ways. The first matchup, it was Warren Murray who gassed them several times. Last couple weeks ago, it was the fullback, T-Roy Gaines, including a nice, I believe it was a 60-yard run he had early in the first quarter, who helped dictate that game, Cam.
Player of the game, Mike Churchill, guy who got hurt in the last meeting with Minnesota, is the hero today. 6 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown. Tyler Falk and myself are back to wrap things up for postgame. When we come back, you're watching the SFL playoffs presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. Welcome back to SFL Studios for Sim Football Post Game, along with Tyler Falk. I'm Cameron Irvine. Final score 20-8. The DC Dragons defeat the Minnesota Legend. Tough second half for Minnesota. Tyler, your thoughts in 60 seconds on this matchup?
I don't think tough is the half of it. Minnesota battled throughout this entire season. And for them, for this inaugural season, for them to make the playoffs and play a great team with DC and be leading at halftime is a remarkable accomplishment for the Legend. They'll be back again here probably in the next couple of seasons, looking to avenge this loss versus DC. But everything could be pinpointed at the Buchanan-Simons injury. It seemed the entire game just flipped the script completely. All of a sudden, DC said, we're gonna play some football now. Interception, Mike Churchill, 82-yard touchdown later. DC took the lead, never looked back. DC Dragons said auf Wiedersehen to the Minnesota Legend.
More playoffs coming up next. It's going to be about 9 p.m. Eastern on SFL YouTube. Lone Star and Arizona. Houston, Sioux Falls tomorrow evening, also on SFL YouTube. And then Fort Worth and Vancouver right back here on Next Level Sports tomorrow night at 8:45. Should be a great one. Well, for all of us at the Simulation Football League, thanks for welcoming us into your living room tonight. He's Tyler Falk. I'm Cameron Irvine. Thanks for watching. DC on to the quarterfinals, and we'll see you tomorrow evening to catch you up on all the SFL action going on this weekend. Have a great night, everybody.